Hello, welcome back.
Buenos dias.
We are here today to talk about the latest market update. As you probably have heard, inventory across southwestern Ontario has been higher than it's been in years. So a question we've been getting a lot, does this mean that every buyer has more negotiating power this fall?
And so we're going to go into that a little bit more, but the short answer is no. And that might surprise a lot of people. That's just where we're at.
There's a few reasons, a few different little scenarios. But first of all, the overall numbers that we are seeing and that have been telling you about what's going on in the region, they may not necessarily tell you about certain specific homes or even just like micro neighborhoods that you could be looking in. For instance, two buyers that are looking in the same price range, even in the same month, same week, can end up in totally different negotiating situations.
And this has a little bit to do with where you're looking. So if the market average isn't the real answer, then what is? So for us, it's the listing's own history. It's not necessarily whether it's spring season or fall season.
Or
it's
summer season. Because we're still in summer, everyone.
And we're not talking about winter. So it's not necessarily season, it's history related on a listing.
So what we're saying is looking at homes that maybe have been active for 30 days or more. These homes have maybe already been had a price reduction, have come down. They were originally priced above what similar places or neighbors were actually sold for.
So add a layout that might be a tiny little bit awkward, or a place that needs some cosmetic work because people like pretty. And usually you find a seller who's maybe a little bit more open to negotiating because they've been sitting for a while.
Yes, and you know what? And sometimes it can even just be a lot more simpler than that. It can just be a seller who really needs a specific closing date and they are getting close to that deadline. They may have an offer on another place. They may need to sell because there's been some major lifestyle changes and maybe they have to move for work or family has expanded and they need to sell now.
So from a construction side though, should you be scared of cosmetic things? Should you allow that to scare you? Not really, because to just simply a dated kitchen or maybe some old flooring, there's actually some very simple fixes for that. Doing some simple things such as paint updates, these aren't major, they're not major structural changes. So that actually gives you a whole bunch of leverage when you're looking to purchase a home.
Right. Paint is easy, it's not that expensive. Property type also matters a little bit here because we're also noticing where you're finding your leverage isn't the same in every category.
Yeah, because there's one that shows the clearest leverage for any type of property right now, and that's condo apartments. Inventory is at about 6.7 months. You have a hard time giving these away right now. Listings are taking over 40 days to sell, and that's by far the longest of any of the property types across the board in our region.
Yeah. Now, townhouses are a little bit different because they feel a little more family friendly than a condo apartment.
They have a basement.
They have a basement. So sales are up a little bit for those than last year, but the prices are still really below average and they are still taking over a month to sell. And prices have come down from the peak. So there's real room to negotiate on townhomes.
Single family homes, however, is where the tightest competition of the three. The shortest time on market, least amount of inventory relative to sales. And this is where buyers feel is the most competition, quite simply because people are getting good deals on single family homes for the first time in years.
Right. So if you're a buyer, we're going to say don't be afraid to jump in there.
Try it.
Give it a try.
Because if a home has been on the market for at least 30 days and priced above similar homes in the area or in the neighborhood, these might be sellers who are ready to see an offer and begin negotiating. Oftentimes people might ask, well, is it really worth putting in an offer? Try it.
And something we've been noticing that's been missed isn't necessarily just the property type, but it's also where you're shopping.
Of course.
So obviously North London, a lot of hot competition in North London. But in the South London and East London, there's going to be a little bit more for room for negotiating. And surprisingly, St. Thomas is actually a little bit more of a tighter market than London overall.
But there's a reason for that, because St. Thomas is a smaller city, right? So
Right.
there's less inventory. But homes in St. Thomas are moving quite quickly, and it has a lot to do with what St. Thomas has to offer right now. They're under a month on average on the market, and that's way less inventory relative to London sales. And it's just because they're not as big as London. But if you're willing to even look outside St. Thomas, such as Aylmer, Dutton, West Lauren, it's still an easy commute. And then, of course, you even get properties with more options, maybe a little bit more bang for your buck, a little bit more even buyer friendly.
Right. So if you're looking to want to buy in August or fall, coming up to the fall, we're not going to talk winter,
No.
but now look at days on the market, not just the asking price, and watch for the price reductions. And a tip we can't help but give is
Emphasize.
keep your financing ready, so that way you can move fast if the right one shows up. So that way you're able to just negotiate a lot quicker and a lot easier, not just on terms, but also on price.
And if you're planning to sell this fall, if you're thinking on selling your home, be prepared for a little bit more scrutiny. Price according to your area, not what your fantasy price is. Price according to your home's features. The more little things you can do to improve your home's presentation, some very simple things, cleaning, curb appeal, fresh paint. This will help you to actually be successful if you're thinking on selling in this market.
So our takeaway from the market numbers, what we feel is that we're going to see some more homes that are going to be bought up by buyers who are looking beyond the numbers, and sellers who are realistic as to what the current market we exist in are going to sell their home.
And if you're thinking on buying or selling, we would love to have a conversation with you. So feel free, reach out. And in the meantime, we'll catch up with you on the next one.
Bye-bye.